cute.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the second episode of Take a Sip podcast. I have a beautiful guest here with me. This is my friend Kiana, aka Kiki, aka the Dynamic Duo.
This is true.
And we will get to Kiki and all things Kiki in a second. First, I'd like to welcome you guys again to the second episode of Take a Sip podcast, where we talk about anything and everything real life. And I'm just so excited to be here. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, and you can find us on Spotify. Send it to your friends. Tell everybody. Tell all the world, all the girls, everybody you know. Today, we are going to be talking about ghosting and having ever been ghosted or doing some ghosting ourselves. We've both experienced quite a bit of
Both ends.
stuff. But before we get into it, I'm going to go ahead and let Kiki introduce herself so that you can understand the dynamic difference here.
Okay, so my name's Kiana. Only those that love me can call me Kiki. Don't get it twisted. I have been friends with Jackie for 2-3 years maybe.
I think 3.
I worked for her initially 3, but now we're the dynamic duo. And when you see her, you see me. When you see me, you see her.
Period.
Yeah, that's it.
And she's honestly a godsend of a friend.
Aww.
Little addition to this podcast, last night she actually saved my life. Last night I was home alone and I was terrified because I got home to a post-it note on my door of somebody saying that they saw me earlier in the day and that if I wouldn't mind either sending them booty pics or exchanging my IG to them for money. And for me to come home to my doorstep and see a post-it note like that, it really kind of threw me off. And because they also rang the doorbell, so they rang the doorbell twice with an intention,
Waiting for you to be home.
waiting for me to be home. It's like they were waiting for me to arrive to know that they left that post-it note, and it really scared me. So immediately I sent a text to the group chat, and the first person to always save me anytime I need a friend, anytime I'm sad, Kiki has showed up to my door with flowers. Kiki has showed up to my door with treats. She is one of the greatest friends of all time. She's very considerate, very Cancer Queen energy. So I love my Kiki, and I'm so thankful for her being here and supporting me. All my friends support me. So if you guys see my friends on this couch, it's because these people genuinely support me. Not that they're comfortable on the camera, not that they're not nervous. They are doing this out of love for me, and I'm so thankful to you guys for that. And also, too, we had to take a sip. Hey. By the way, I know this looks disgusting. It's Celsius. We didn't know that Celsius looked like this.
I thought
underneath
it was clear.
the surface.
I poured. I was very surprised. I did vodka and Celsius, and I was like, "Why is it yellow?"
What is going on? No wonder my feet looks a little green.
Get that settlement money. If you don't file for that
What
Celsius
is that?
settlement money,
I would be looking in the toilet. Why does it look like that?
why is it spice?
For real. Oh, now it makes sense. But hence the true to the name, take a sip. Now, it's not always going to be take a sip of alcohol. It could be take a sip of tea, because sometimes we're going to be dropping hot tea. Sometimes it's going to be take a sip of your coffee, because we're going to have a little casual, comfortable, warm conversation. And sometimes you need to take a sip.
Sometimes you need some vodka.
Sometimes you need some vodka. That's what's in there, some Tito's. So I might end up out El Perico, not taking care of my responsibilities and my homework, thanks to Kiki and her Tito's influence.
I mean, it was only fitting to have vodka. Come on, I'm here.
We are the vodka queens.
Yeah, you cannot have vodka.
Yeah, we really are the vodka queens. Okay, so let's get into the first segment of the show. So I went ahead and asked my IG family red flags. Drop some of your red flags. So we're going to go through a few of them, and then I'm going to ask Kiki for her red flags. So let's go through some of these red flags. And listen, my Instagram family never disappoints. If you guys do not follow me on IG, you need to follow me immediately, because they do not disappoint. The stories on there, the responses, people trust me with their secrets. I will never put you on blast. And I try to always respond to everyone. Always. As much as possible. So let's get into some of the red flags that you guys, my viewers, gave me. All right. You guys never disappoint. These red flags always coming in hot. Number 1, dated his own cousin.
Shut the fuck up right now.
Actually, Actually, story time. When I was in high school, there was somebody who called somebody. I'm really cool with her now and stuff, but they used to call each other cousins or family members in some kind of way, and then they ended up together, and they're like now in a relationship, but they were never really cousins. But the fact that they grew up and called themselves cousins, and then later became a couple, yeah, really interesting. It was very interesting for everybody because everybody was like, "Wait, we thought you guys were cousins." Like it was confusing because they had labeled themselves cousins. And that's what makes you wonder, like, well, were you guys ever really cousins or not? But they weren't. But it's just the fact that they were introduced as that made it so confusing.
I need, like, I mean, not that I need more details on this, but are we talking, like, for a second? Are you family,
is it your third cousin?
Are you family friends? Is it twice removed? Not that it fucking matters. Like, if it's your cousin, that's fucking disgusting.
Who dates their cousin?
That is some hillbilly.
Well, that's not even a red flag at that point. Like, that's just
incest.
Psychosis. Like, that's not even a red flag.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's terrifying. Okay, moving on. Oh, 4 baby mamas.
Okay, Summer Walker. I want to say what your mama, she should have whooped your ass.
Hey, oh, louder, louder,
No,
louder.
there's no.
4 baby mamas. Obviously, why would you consider that a red flag?
I mean,
what realistically makes a red flag out of 4 baby mamas? What is it?
I just feel like you can't seem to make things work with the person you're creating like life with. Why are you just impregnating like one bitch after another?
Yes, to me, it shows me that there's like lack of responsibility.
Yeah, it's
like lack of responsibility. Yes, like you already made. Even at 2, it's like you already made 2 different kids with 2 different people. Managing that is difficult. Even me speaking for myself as like having to co-parent with one person, I could not imagine 4. At 2, I would be like, learn my lesson, never doing this again.
Like, I just feel like, why are you not taking it serious? Like, you're creating life. Like, what are you like, eh?
Like, you're just over there planting seeds, watering garden. No,
yet,
they're not watering the garden. They're just planting seeds and dipping.
And yet, women, like, birth control is a thing for women, not men. Like, when a man can impregnate 6 women in one fucking night, and you want women to be...
The world is a messed up place.
Get the fuck out of here.
Give me a drink. I need a drink to that.
Absolutely not.
Okay, let's see. Blaming it all on the exes for failed relationships and not taking accountability.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I would say so too. I would say that any time that a man is always pointing the finger at every previous relationship failing because of the other person and never taking some form of ownership.
When they hit you with the, oh, she was fucking crazy. Okay, well,
why was she crazy?
Like, you provoked her, right? And don't get me wrong, some bitches are really just crazy, but
yeah, the girls with the license plates that say toxicas, I'll never honk with them. Because I am not trying to get in a fight on the freeway, girl.
Like, what did you do, though, to make someone crazy? Because I've acted out of character because I was provoked.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you do? That's my first question.
¿Qué hiciste?
Yeah, what did you do?
No te hagas pendejo. Okay. Let's do 2 more. When their phone is on silent, what do you think about that?
I don't think that's a red flag.
I personally don't think it's a red flag.
Because then I'm a big fucking red flag.
Then me too. I'm a big red flag too because I actually have all my notifications silenced for all apps of all sorts. And sometimes I even go on Do Not Disturb on my messages. But that's just me on a regular daily basis. And I think that's more so to protect my peace. But if they're not on that level, then I guess it could be a red flag.
Yeah. I think more so if you have your phone flipped face down all the time.
That
I think is a red flag. Not having your shit on silent, because I've never have sound on my phone ever.
The phone flipped upside down, I think that bothers me a lot.
I'm looking at you a little sideways, like, why is your shit always flipped upside down?
Every time we sit down, it's like immediately it goes like this.
Like, you're not slick.
Yeah, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. There's a lot, girl. Receding hairline, 2 baby mamas, doesn't communicate plans, no social media, and I quote, love bombing, works 24/7. Like, damn. When he has Snapchat, 2 phones, damn. I'm like, I have 2 phones
I have 2
too,
phones
but
too.
damn, I feel
I
attacked.
guess I'm a red flag. I got 2 phones.
If he's a musical, like, these things just do not stop. I'm like, okay, they got red flags for days.
Who hurt everybody? Tell me your story.
Oh my gosh. But okay, let's leave it at this one, and then you can tell me one of your red flags.
Okay.
Following count of women on IG.
I think, yeah, that it's just an ick in general if a guy's following is 90% like predominantly female, and also if it's larger than their follower, like, what? You don't even have to follow back, baby. Like, they're not even following you back. Ick.
Major.
Ick.
Ick.
Like,
Major.
why are you following that many girls?
And I think it's a red flag more so because it tells me that you have no self-control as a man.
Yeah.
That you want to see these things and you have no self-control. It's like a man that watches porn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just tells me that you have no control over your, like, desires. Yeah. That's scary to me because that means that those people can succumb to their desires. Yeah. And how does that make me feel safe in, like, a relationship or in
like,
anything?
It's not going to provide any security.
No, I would feel like,
Yeah.
Very, like, your character. Dude, I think my following count has been the same for... Ever. I think it's probably gone up by maybe 20 people that I followed in, like, 3 years.
Yeah. I think I'm very selective, too. And it's not like I don't want to follow you back. Like, it's just, I don't want to see your shit. Like, if I don't have, like, some kind of, like,
real
relationship with you, or, like, I'm going to see you again, like, I don't want to follow you back. Like...
Yeah, I don't want to follow you. I tell everybody, I'm not going to follow you. You can follow me, but I'm not going to follow you back.
That's what I'm like, yeah.
I straight up say that.
The LMFAO guy.
Yeah, okay. So me and Kiki, okay, before we get into ghosting, because ghosting is next.
Oh my god.
But me and Kiki went to Vegas recently. We always have a time in Vegas. Listen, Vegas is like our second home.
Vegas loves us.
And we love Vegas. But we were in Vegas and we were just meeting all these people randomly. We always end up at tables. We always end up it's an experience every time. And this guy literally looked like a mix of LMFAO and Steve Aoki. And he's like, come on, let's take a picture. We're like, okay.
We didn't. And
we're like, okay. He literally grabbed us like we were friends and like had us on each side and was like, yeah, like another one. And we're like,
and
all
then,
awkward.
Like, the next day, we both get like a DM request. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I check him every now and then, and he tagged us in his story. Like, I don't know who this man was.
I was like, Kiki, he tagged us in his post. He followed us and he tags in his post. So much so that his friends were like, wait, you know him? And we're like no.
No, I never saw that man ever again in my life. Like, the thing is, like, I go to Vegas so much and I have so many friends out there now that I'm like, I'm always meeting new people, and Jackie came with me that time, and I mean, yeah, that man really, like...
I was like, no, we didn't know him. He just took a picture with us.
I think Alex was like, oh, you guys know him?
Yeah.
We were like, no.
We actually don't.
No, I don't. But if you're watching this right now, thanks.
We love you, sir. That was fun.
Yeah, I think it was
great
his
memory. I think he was celebrating big, so he just wanted to take pictures of everybody.
I get it.
Which I'm all well and fine in doing, but it was just very random when we got tagged the next day. I was like, he done found us on social media.
Good times.
Good times. Good times. All right, so those are the red flags of everybody else. Give me one of yours, Keeks. What is a red flag for you?
If a guy is over the age of, I'll say 20, and using Snapchat as a main form of communication, get the fuck out of here. You're asking for my Snapchat?
I feel like this is a very generational difference between me and Kiki. That's another reason why I wanted Kiki here, because if you guys didn't, I don't think you said your age, right?
I'm 23.
So Kiki's 23 and I'm 34, so that's a whole decade apart.
Yeah. So
I feel like this is such a huge thing in Kiki's generation, because I have Snapchat too, but I rarely use it. And to me, I've never really had that thing where it's like, oh, Snapchat or like a Snapchat issue.
Yeah.
But so to me, I don't understand necessarily what you're saying in terms of that being a red flag, because that's not something that I experienced in my generation. So explain it more to me what that means. Like what is a Snapchat red flag? Like if I was new and did it, I actually really don't know much about it. So what makes it a red flag?
I see it as a red flag because if I have your number, Instagram, whatever, and like in addition you want a Snapchat, whatever. But if you're asking me just for my Snapchat and that's your main form of communication, I see it as a red flag because Snapchat is so fucking sneaky. Like your messages disappear the second you open them up, or now I think it's like 24 hours after they
Can't you save them too, though?
You can. So, I mean, I've also had some instances where, like, some people were covering their tracks intentionally, right? And they're like, oh, do you have Snapchat? I'm like, all right, I know what the fuck it is. Like, sure. But yeah, I just feel like, why are you using, like, it's sneaky. It's deceiving. Like, what are you hiding, or who are you hiding these messages from, you know? Like, that's how I see it. And I'm like, why can't you just text me? Like, you're a grown man. Like, why are you using Snapchat to communicate?
And I still don't get it, because at the end of the day, can't you still delete text messages?
I mean, you can, I guess, but like,
right?
I think Snapchat is just quicker.
And
like,
if you have the number.
Yeah, I think Snapchat is just like a quicker way to like, oh, well, it's open, it's gone, like, kind of like vanish mode on Instagram now.
I've seen that too. I never used it.
I've never used it, but I've had a guy use it on me.
Oh my gosh, I remember.
And I was like,
ew.
What the fuck? I've never had anybody use it until he did. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing right now? Yeah, so I just think, like, if that's your main form of communication, like, just text me, bro. Like, you don't have to, in addition to texting me if you want to Snapchat me, okay, fine. I don't really use it, but I just feel like it's dirty. Like, when a guy's asking for a Snapchat, I'm like, are you going to send me a dick pic? Like,
oh, is that what it's like? Is
I
that
also
the vibe?
think that's, like, what it correlates to, because, like, once it's gone, you know? Like, oh, I don't want your fucking dick pic. Please don't send me a dick pic.
Oh, maybe that's why it is. See, this is new to me, because I don't see Snapchat as a red flag in my perspective, or like where I am at in life. Because like I snap you, you just snapped me yesterday. She snapped me.
There's a video of my niece.
Her niece, which I'm obsessed with. I'm a Sienna stans. Love you, Sienna. She's just a baby. She's like 6 months old, and I'm obsessed with her. So she sends me pictures of her or like videos of her, and sometimes, yeah, you're right. It's probably easier on Snapchat, but I've never experienced that.
You've never had a guy send like a dick pic on Snapchat?
Never. I've had random guys follow me on Snapchat that I don't know how they followed me or how they found me on Snapchat without following me on any other social media.
Right.
Like, they don't know who I am on other social media platforms.
Yeah.
And have like started conversation with me, but like I don't know who they are, and I've never like entertained it because I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why Snapchat to me,
you don't see it that way.
Yeah, because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely a generational difference.
Yeah.
For both of us. Okay, so I think one of my red flags would definitely be somebody who shows that they're lazy, like in every which way. So somebody who has a character or like that evil spirit of like laziness, like because then that just tells me that you're going to be lazy about
every aspect.
Yes, about your work, about what you do, about our relationship. You're not going to put as much effort as you should because you're just lazy across the board. So that just is a major red flag for me, period, because it's like you're easily influenced to take the easy way out in life, in any which way. And so I feel like if you do that, then you're not going to invest into a relationship. You're going to be lazy about getting to know me more or what I like.
The effort in every aspect.
We'll make it non-existent.
Yeah, it's just not there.
Yeah, so that's a major red flag for me. And I think the way that I identify that is like I feel like with a man, you can't pay attention to his blah, blah, blah.
No.
Like, you gotta observe how he moves. And you need time.
Yeah.
You need time to observe how somebody moves. So you kind of just gotta move slowly and, like, observe how they move. But once you see them and the way that they move, so, like, let's say they don't put effort into getting themselves ready. Or they don't put effort into, like, when they express themselves about their job. And let's say they say, like, oh, no, but I'm not gonna do that extra training because blah.
Right.
Like, it'll take me too much time. I feel like that shows the characteristics of lazy. I personally don't want to be around somebody like that. Like, it's just a red flag for me. Because I don't want you to be lazy. Like, I want you to be like, da-da-da-da-da.
That's because you're ambitious. You're a very ambitious, go-getter individual. So, like, why would you want someone who's not going to match that and be, like, the same?
Yes.
On the same level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that shit's scary for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that we got the red flags out of the way, and I'm a little tipsy. Thanks,
You want to
Kiki.
finish it?
I'm like, no, Kiki. I'm like, I'll be asleep before we finish the episode.
Throw it back.
A little sip. Let's get into ghosting.
Oh, shit.
So, today's main topic and what we wanted to discuss was ghosting. And we thought that this was such a valid thing because, again, generationally, it's a little different.
Yeah.
And I want to hear Kiki's experiences with ghosting. Have you been ghosted, and have you done any ghosting?
I have been on both ends. I'm not proud to say I have ghosted, and I have been ghosted.
Wait, why are you not proud to say that you have ghosted?
There's one instance where I feel like, fuck, like I should have just explained why I wasn't into it anymore. You know, like, but I feel like so much time has passed at this point, it would be almost offensive to, like,
be like, hey, just wanted you to know.
Like,
Da-da-da-da-da.
it would be fucking offensive for me to now be like, hey, like, I don't know what that guy's up to now, but, you know, like, if I were to see him in person, I'd be like, you know what, I'm sorry. Like, I should have just laid it out for you. Another instance was necessary. He was fucking crazy. Like, I had to do it. I had to. I had to block him on everything because he was so scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I also have been ghosted. So I've been on, you know, the receiving end, and I've also been the one doing it, and yeah, it's just shitty. It's just shitty.
So tell me why exactly, before you tell me the situations, tell me why exactly you felt like you should have explained to the person that you ghosted. What was the reason behind your ghosting, and why do you feel now like you should have explained it?
Do you want to hear the story?
Run it. We want to hear the dirt.
So we had gone on a couple dates, right? And I think maybe like 3 dates at this point. And we went out, we got a drink and an appetizer, okay? And
I want to laugh.
You're laughing.
I'm like holding it in because I know the story.
How it ends. Okay.
Yes.
So we order a drink, we order an appetizer, whatever. So he goes to the restroom and the bill comes. I had no problem putting my card down because he had paid for all the other dates, which I know my friends were like, why the fuck did you put your card down? And I was like, because he had already paid for the other dates. Like, I didn't mind. Genuinely did not bother me, okay? So I put my card down. What the issue was for me, and I got the fucking ick, was because we had like a little bit of our appetizer left over. It was a fucking quesadilla, okay? It was a quesadilla. So I put my card down.
By the way, he's named Quesadilla now.
Quesadilla thief is what we
yes,
refer to him as.
yeah. If you do you guys name?
Do you nickname all the men that you've dated or had on your rosters? Like, we need to know because
the list is endless in our group
and
chat.
Like 90% of them are.
But this is the quesadilla thief.
This is the tale of the quesadilla.
Yes.
Okay, so I pay for it. Then the waitress is like, "Oh, would you guys like a box for your leftovers?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." It was like 2 fucking pieces. I didn't care to take them, but I was like, "Whatever." So she comes, she brings the box. Tell me why this man like fucking packs up that quesadilla and like. It's his, okay? Like, it just
he was taking it for lunch, girl.
Like, it disgusted me.
He ain't got nothing on his fridge.
You want to know why it bothered me? It's because, like, if you didn't put your card down or paid for it, even if it were with one of my fucking friends, I would never be like, taking my happy ass and making that shit mine, okay? I'd be like, you can take it, like, you paid for it. I wouldn't even, like, think. No, maybe he really needed those leftovers. If either way, it just really, like, put me off. I just felt like it was inconsiderate. Like, to me, that's what I got from it. I was like, ew, like, you're not even gonna ask or be like, hey, like, do you want to take it? No, like, he took that shit happy and was, like, gone, okay? I think I texted him a little bit after that night, and then I just stopped texting him, and I never let him know why I was bothered.
Okay, real question though. Do you think that you actually really liked him then? Because it was that easy for you to ghost him. Realistically.
I don't maybe think now looking at it, I really did like him. I think it was more like I enjoyed his company and like we got along well, and like, he was cool to hang out with, but I don't think it was someone that I would, like, really like. Because I feel like if you did really like somebody, it wouldn't be that easy to be like, unless they disrespected you, you know?
I also will say that this was when you were freshly out of a relationship.
I was freshly single. I think this was, like, the second guy I had ever, like, dated. So, also, I was just, like, in a very, I don't know, like, it was a lot of...
Like, a very, like,
Yeah, like, I shouldn't be doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I do feel really, really bad about it now that I think about it. Like, I should have just told him, like, you know what? It's not gonna work. Like, whether I needed to explain to him why, because it was over the fucking quesadilla or not, I should just, like, yeah, so...
Dude, every time I see a quesadilla now, I legit think of this. Like, every time. I can't help it.
I really hope he's well. Like, he probably hates me.
I hope he enjoyed this quesadilla.
Like, I hope he enjoyed it, and...
He got home, put it in sour cream.
I ate that shit the next day for lunch, like, okay?
Put it in the oven, he's all happy.
Like, I thought about it, and it was just like, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just told him what it was, whether it was, like, directly that reason or not. Like, hey, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, but yeah, I feel bad about it when I think, but that was, like, almost 2 years ago. Like, that's fucking offensive for me now to be like, hey, like, I just wanted to let you know, like, I'm sorry.
About that.
Yeah, so that was the reason why I feel bad. The other one was totally necessary.
Okay, why?
He was fucking crazy, okay? Indiana. Do you remember?
Indiana, yeah. I already knew where this was going.
We use nicknames, okay? So, also I was freshly single. This was the first guy I had dealt with, like, post-breakup, okay? I didn't know what was the streets held, like, but I was like, if this is what it's gonna be like, bitch, I'm scared. Like,
Preface, Kiki was in a relationship prior to her being single for a couple
5 years.
5-6 years, right?
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, so she was in a long-term relationship, and this was like, obviously, with her age, now you guys know her age, so 5-6 years takes it back to high school. So it was the only relationship and long-term. So this was her freshly out of that.
Yeah, I was 21, like, freshly single. I went to Vegas, right? And, you know, I thought, like, what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. But anyway,
Psychos don't.
So, yeah. Okay, so he was from out of state. He lived in Indiana, hence his nickname, right? Which is really ironic because the back of my jacket says Indiana fucking Speedway, okay?
About that.
I did not plan that. Anyways, he wanted to keep in contact, like, after I met him, after, like, you know, we hung out, whatever. I didn't really expect to hear from him after because, bro, you live in Indiana, I live in California, like, whatever. But he wanted to text. We would, like, occasionally talk on the phone. And the following month, I went to Vegas again. And it was us, our girls' trip, which was, let me say, just the fucking girls' trip of the century. That was, yeah. So, he knew I was going. I didn't lie about it. And not that I was even talking to this man. Like, we would just text, like, here and there. It was never going to go anywhere. He lived in Indiana, like, and culturally, too. Like, it was just a guy I met once, whatever. So, I go to Vegas, have an epic fucking weekend, and I'm sitting at the airport. I remember this vividly. I get a text from him. We're going to go home, right? He texts me, and he's like, were you on some fucking hoe shit this weekend? And I was like, what's that?
You met me on some whole shit, player.
Like, what? You knew what the fuck I was when you met me, bitch.
You knew what it was.
So, I'm, like, looking at it, and I'm like, I'm just not going to respond to that, because I don't know, like, what to say to that. Like, you're not my man. I don't even, like, I've met you, whatever. So, lo and behold, to me, I didn't know I had my red receipts on, because I don't have my red receipts on for anybody, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know how that happened, but I was reading his messages in real time, and he was seeing it, and I didn't know that I was leaving him on red. We're, like, boarding our plane, like, whatever. He starts blowing up on me, and he's, like, basically cussing me out, like, oh, you're on some fucking thought shit, like, you want to act like blah, 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 and I was like, who the fuck are you talking to like that? And that's exactly what I told him. I was like, I don't know who you're talking to like that, but it's not me. And he was
I'm gonna need you to pipe down, sir.
He was blowing me up, and I was like, bruh, like, I blocked him because I was like, you're not going to talk to me crazy like that. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I blocked him. So since I have a MacBook, even though I blocked him, his text messages were still coming through on my laptop. So I didn't check for like a few days later. I just blocked it. I was like, fucking crazy. Blocked him on Instagram, whatever.
Because he was nobody important.
No, I met him once in Vegas. Like, okay,
yeah.
once, and that was it. I thought that was going to be it. So then I see him for days and weeks sending me texts. I'm sorry, I miss you, please forgive me. I mean, he was sending me selfies. Okay, he got like an AMG, right? Man had money. Like, he fucking had all the gas stations that there was in Indiana, okay?
Yeah.
And he was sending me selfies of him with like his car, like, I miss you. This man for 6 months after, you guys, was using his cousin's Instagram accounts to contact me and be like, please, like, unblock me. Like, if he lived in California, I firmly believe, bitch, I would have been dead on a Barbara Walters Dateline special a long fucking time ago.
We were scared. I was like, does he know who your friends are? Because I'm going to go into hiding.
Like, I firmly believe if he lived in California, I would have been dead in a fucking ditch. And y'all would have seen me on Dateline. But, yeah, so I had to ghost him because obviously he was psychotic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are the two instances.
He didn't take no for an answer is the point.
He did not take no for an answer.
It was not just ghosting, it was kind of like protecting your boundaries and your space because he just genuinely could not take no for an answer.
Psycho.
So it wasn't just like she just disappeared and was like, I'm out, like this, I'm not doing this, I'm not explaining, because she did try to be like, hey,
yeah,
hey, and he just never got it.
You start talking to me crazy, you're no. Like,
yes.
It's a no. It's a fucking no.
Yes.
So yeah, those are the two instances that I had ghosted.
Yeah. I get it for that second one because he was crazy. We were all scared, period. And now tell me about instances where you've been ghosted, because I have never been ghosted.
You've never been ghosted?
I've never been ghosted, not once ever, not in my youngest years, not till this day,
No
even
way.
in my older years. I've never actually been ghosted. I don't know if, again, it's a generational thing or if it was like a thing when I was younger, because I've never been ghosted by anybody from when I was younger. And obviously I was married for a good time period, so nobody's gonna ghost me.
Right. I mean, you would fucking hope.
I was home with my kids. So, but prior to that, I had never been ghosted by anybody. And then I was married, obviously, and then after my marriage and my dating life, I have never been ghosted. So I don't know the feeling of getting ghosted, and I did witness my mom being ghosted.
Oh yeah, that's right.
My mom was ghosted, and so
Fucker.
what? Yeah, asshole.
Asshole. Nobody ghosts Ruby.
Yeah, nobody ghosts my mom. She's an angel.
Fucker.
Ugh. So when I saw that, and I was newly into dating as well, I was like, I hope that nobody ever ghosts me. So one of like the very first conversations I have with people and dating is like, hey, if you're not feeling it and you feel like I'm feeling it, but you're not feeling it, like just tell me straight up. I would rather know and like walk away. I've dated a few people post, again, my separation. I did have a boyfriend for a time period. And before him, I dated a little bit too. Really liked somebody. I really genuinely liked somebody. He was older, and we had a really great conversation, communication, and it was cool. Like, it was a vibe. Like, I was like, this could possibly go somewhere. But I did communicate my feelings in a few instances where I felt like there was inconsistencies in the way that he was treating me. And I don't like to make decisions off the bat. I like to give people time, that once I've expressed my feelings, to see how you move.
Right, like how are you going to react from now me telling you how I feel.
Right. So I like to express my feelings. I'm very vocal. Yeah. But I'm vocal very calmly.
Yeah.
And I'm vocal very thought out. So I think about my feelings, I process them before I actually speak on them.
Yeah.
I really do. My friends can attest to my personality though.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So it took me some time. And then finally I was like, hey, you know what? Like, I really like you. I'm really feeling you. And like, I just want to know why there's not some consistency in the way that this is moving, especially at our age range. I would think, and he was much older than me. He was close. He was about to be 40, actually.
Big ass prehistoric age. The fuck?
Fucking dinosaur.
Dude, you're a fucking fossil and you're still acting like this? Get the fuck
out. So I communicated my feelings, and he was expressive in terms of like, hey, like, I like you too, and I definitely see this going somewhere. And he really like responded in the way that I would have hoped. Right. But this is where I tell you guys, and this is where I preach to you guys, that one thing is for a man to do blah blah blah, and it's another for you to observe his actions. So in the days and weeks post me expressing that, he did see me often, but for some reason I still felt I had that feeling of disconnect. Yeah. And lo and behold, my friend downloads a dating app. One of my very good friends, actually, which I had encouraged her to do, because I'm like, dude, at this point, like, where are we going to meet people?
Right.
I encouraged her to do. She's my high school friend, and lo and behold, literally days after this conversation that him and I had, he liked one of her pictures on the dating app, and that just went ahead and told me, take a drink, girl, take a drink.
Take a sip right now. I'm finishing this shit for you.
Oh. So he went ahead and liked one of her pictures, and so I was like, no, he didn't. And she said, yup. And we looked at it, whatever, it was him. I said, okay, perfect. So I still cleaned it off, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a profile myself on the dating app. And I said, I'm going to make a profile myself. It's a fake profile, but I'm going to make a profile myself just so he can see me on there. And I'm pretty sure he came across my profile because she was a new profile, so I think since he had been on there, he got to see when it was new profiles, right?
So, I don't know how any of it works. I've never downloaded an app in my life.
Yeah, okay, well, pretty much, he had been on it, so she's a new profile, so obviously it's going to pop up for him as, like, a new suggestion. Okay, so then I was like, okay, cool. Since he did that, I'm going to make a profile in hopes that I'm sure he would come across it.
And see it.
And yeah, sure enough, he did text me, but he didn't ask me about the profile. He said, hey, can I ask you something? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you like me? Like, do you really like me? And I was like, yeah, I do. But this is me already knowing that he was still trying to entertain, still trying to do things. And I was like, yeah, I do. And me playing the fucking game. I was like, yes, I do. I don't like you so much, but fuck you. Hey, Mia, In-N-Out, take me back.
Drinking your milkshake.
Yeah, I was like, In-N-Out, like, fucking, can I get extra fucking
chopped chilies and chopped onions, please?
I legit was at In-N-Out when he was writing me that. And then I was like, okay, cool. So then I let it be, and then I was like, yeah, I really do. And he's like, yeah, you too. Like, I really like you too. And I was like, okay, perfect. And after that, I stopped responding. I decided to stop responding because I said, okay, we're at this ripe age where we should know what we want, where I know what I want, where I know and I'm secure in myself and I know what I'm vibing with. And if I'm not getting that energy reciprocated, or if I'm not being treated like the way that I want to be treated and how valuable I see myself, then there is no need for me to continue this. I've already expressed and overexpressed my feelings. And although you said that you would do one thing and you did something otherwise, then that just told me exactly how you feel about me. So I didn't need to hear the words anymore. I saw your actions, and your actions spoke for themselves. And once the actions were spoken, then that's when I made the decision. I'm always going to choose myself, baby. Every single time. I have learned my lesson.
Every time.
And I will choose myself. Every single time. I'm not going to go through this circle, this charade of trying to, okay, well, and then bring it up to him, and then say this, and then say that. I would have never ghosted anybody had it not been for that type of scenario. Because I feel like everybody deserves the respect of saying, hey, you know what? Like, this isn't working for me. But I feel like I had already expressed things.
You had said your piece.
Right, and it's like, okay, then you chose to do that. And that's another reason why I made the profile, in hopes that he came across it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that he did.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he did. He did message me the next day, like, a few times, and he's like, hey, so I'm assuming that means that you don't want to talk to me. And I'm not sure what happened, and I'm sorry if I did anything wrong, and I wish you the best. And I just never responded. I don't feel like I owe him any explanation.
No.
If he were to ever reach out to me at some point, then maybe I would more than likely be like, well, this is why I did it. But for me to openly just be like, hey, I did it because of this, it's like, no, we're all grown. And you clearly know exactly what you're doing. And I made that profile with the intention of him coming across it. That he could see it and be like, oh, snap, she's going to see me on here. And that's the reason I did it. So I know that his question of like, hey, are you into me, was prompted by that. So I just left it as is. I would have never ghosted anybody. I feel like I'm at a mature level to where I can have open communication and tell you that something's not working for me, or I can express my feelings. But I feel like in that situation, I was put in that corner.
Yeah, your back was against the wall.
My back was against the wall.
And you said what you needed to say. I just, like, at your big ass fucking age, like.
Can you guys believe that at almost 40, men are still acting this way?
Hate men. Do you hear me? Is this on? I fucking hate.
Hey, taps the mic.
I fucking hate men. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
you for the floor.
Meeting is adjourned.
Refill, please.
Yeah, no, fuck, seriously. No, I'm just kidding. I have to get back to this.
No, seriously. So that's the reason that that's my very first time ever in my entire life ghosting somebody.
That was valid.
Yeah, and I don't feel that it was ghosted. I feel like you lied and you should have expected
And it died off, and you said what you needed to say, and you can't fucking sell someone dreams, and then, like, bitch, I just had this conversation with someone that I'm, like, currently talking to right now, like, he kind of got mad at the fact that I'm like, everything you've given me in your track record, like, why are you going to get mad? I can't keep going off the potential of things. Like, I'm going to go off what you've shown me. What you've shown me is that you don't fucking care enough to figure it out. Like, you're not going to make the effort. Or it's just not important enough to you. And that's okay. You've made it loud and clear. But how are you going to get mad at me that now I'm going to act accordingly and I'm going to move different? I'm not going to keep like, oh, but maybe when, like, no, fuck that. Like, bitch,
no,
I'm 23 years old. Like, I'm probably not going to get any finer, thinner, hotter than this. Like, this is my prime, okay? Like,
and it's good that you know that now. It's good that you know that now, because when I was at your age, I definitely didn't have the security in myself. But again, I was not in the place also to. It's very different.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you know that, because at the end of the day, like, a man's actions will always speak more volumes than a man's words. Yeah. Because they're going to always paint a pretty picture. They're going to always tell you what you think you want to hear. And this is why you have to observe the actions and how they move post you expressing your feelings. And so the fact that you know that now, even at this young age, it matters. Because you're going to save yourself from so much heartache.
Dude, I've been single for 2 years, and I feel like there's maybe been almost 2 instances where I've actually, like, almost liked somebody, but then I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you did X, Y, and Z, so I'm good. Like, I'm good, you know?
Yep.
And, like, even I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, why am I single? She's like, because you don't put up with bullshit. I was like, thank you.
Because it's like, you get to a place where you learn to categorize people and to understand what is not for you and what is for you. So you get to a place where you're like, you know what? Like, I like this person, but does this serve me in a good way?
Right.
Like, does this amplify who I am? Or does this dull my sparkle because they make me feel like XYZ? Or I'm constantly stressed because they're not fulfilling this part of me that I need. And as soon as you start to realize that people are taking away from you rather than adding to your cup, it's like, oh, whoa. You know how to protect yourself. And that's when I think you make the decision to ghost.
Yeah.
Or not to ghost. But I think most of the time you can have the conversation and say, hey, you know what? This isn't working for me. Even though it's a hard conversation to have, I feel like
comfortable.
Right. I feel like there's very rare instances where you're like, I just gotta not say anything.
Right. Sometimes
let you figure it out.
Truthfully, sometimes things are better left unsaid. But I feel like it's all subjective too. Like, I've been ghosted. When I think about it, I counted. I told Jackie, like, it's actually been 3 times. Okay.
Explain those. Like, do you feel like you warranted being ghosted?
Maybe one of them. Okay. Maybe one of them. The other 2, fuck no. One of them was my ex of 5 years. Once I caught him in some fuck shit, right? Like, the night it happened, it took him a week. I think it was like a week to say anything to me. And I was like, how are you with somebody for 5 years and you're okay with, like, meh.
Okay, but to that, I feel like you were ghosted for a week, but not fully, because eventually he came back to explain it, and I feel like he was gathering his thoughts because he knew he messed up.
Right. I will say, on all 3 accounts that I have been ghosted, they've all spun the block. Whether it was a week later, whether it was 2 weeks later, whether it was a month later, all of them have tried it. And it's honestly, like, I know everyone's always like, oh, they always come back. They do, but that's not flattering. It's almost like insulting because you think you still have access to me, you know? Like, the 3 times that I have been, and my ex, it took like a week for him to say something to me. It was some fucking dumbass bullshit too. Like, hey, I don't think things should have ended that way. Like, what the fuck? If you
Excuse me?
if you don't give a fuck. And then the other instance.
Did I not just catch you
on some fuck shit?
Oh, in downtown Fullerton.
Oh my god.
JP23.
Oh my god. And then the other instance, I had been talking to this guy for, I'd say like 2 to 3 months. He ghosted me. It took him 2 weeks to like say something to me, right? He like tried to explain himself. It was a really sad ass fucking excuse. And I was like, you hit my phone with this? Like, he apologized, but I felt like it wasn't the most genuine. And then the most recent instance, that was probably the most pathetic fucking thing I'd ever heard. Like, he fucked up. He knew he fucked up. Even though I was still talking to him, he ghosted me, right? A whole month went by. He hit me up like, hey, you probably hate me, but I hope you're doing good. Like, what the?
Like, yes, I do
you're
hate
fucking
you.
Right. Like,
yes.
Are we just not gonna?
You are a piece of shit.
Are we not gonna acknowledge the fact that like you just ghosted me for a month? Like, I don't know. And I feel like now he's just like trying to get my attention, and I'm like, bruh, like take accountability. Like you are 23 years old. Like take fucking accountability. Like,
do you feel like it's hurtful? Do you feel like it hurts you to be ghosted?
I don't know if I'd say in the last 2 instances with my ex, I was like, fuck you, yeah, because how are you together with someone, date someone for 5 years, best friends for like 10 years, and it takes you a week to say something? That, I think, is hurtful. The other 2, since it really wasn't anything serious, it's just more like, fuck you, like, and the fact that you think you can hit me up and be like, hey, like,
I think that's where we're different, because I think that I think it's hurtful. I think it would hurt me. It still hurts me deep inside to know that somebody that I had a connection with just decides to say blah. When I know that I'm not the type of person that does anything wrong.
Right.
You know, when I know that I'm being honest with you, because I will be honest with you if you ask me questions or whatever. I will be honest with you. So if I am honest with you and then you still choose to ghost me, if I were to ever be ghosted, because I never have been, but if I were to ever be ghosted, I would be like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like, that would genuinely hurt me, because I would be like, what prompted you to stop talking to me? And it would make me, like, I think, psychoanalyze myself.
Yeah. I think it's human nature, like, period. Whether you're getting ignored for, like, a short period of time, whether it's an extended period of time, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, it's going to make you... I think the most powerful response is silence. Like, in any instance, if someone hurt you, they're trying to, make amends or, like, come trying to, like, seek forgiveness, if you're hitting them with the no response, it's going to drive them crazy. Mm-hmm. Being ignored naturally is going to make anybody go fucking nuts. Whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, like, it's going to elicit some kind of reaction. And, of course, like, I mean... You're gonna like, what? It pissed me off. I don't think I was more sad. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, fuck you. I mean, I'd rather be angry than sad, even though, like...
And I think you have that... It's your natural response to be more angry.
Oh, I am, like...
I think it's Kiki's natural response to be like, like, it's... And I think it's my more natural response to be sad, or to be like,
yeah,
why? And, like, process and try to think of the other person and why they did this, why they said that, why... Yeah, I think it's just my nature, or maybe it's my age and nature.
Yeah. I feel like I used to get sad over things. I feel like I used to be like, oh my gosh, like, that hurt my feelings. But now I feel like it's... And also, I'm not proud of it, but I could hold a grudge like a motherfucker. I could hold a grudge like a motherfucker. And it's not about pride. I think it's more me being stubborn. So, like... Since those 2 guys spun the block, all of them tried, hitting me up again after, I was just like, the fuck? Like, I'm too stubborn to entertain that again. I accepted one of their apologies. I was like, whatever, it's cool, like, even though it was a sorry-ass excuse for an apology, I was like, cool. The other one, never, like, I didn't contact. It's been a couple weeks. I texted you the night it happened. It's been a couple weeks, and I was just like, no, like, fuck you. I think I'm just too stubborn, and, like, not that I'm bitter, but, like, I could hold a grudge, like, nobody's business. I'm not proud of that. That's just the cancer in me.
Do you think that holding a grudge makes you more angry?
For sure, because, like, it's only gonna, like, make you upset, I mean, they may be wondering, like, what the fuck, like, why? But at the end of the day, like, you're the one harboring that resentment. So that's why I'm like, I'm not proud of that shit, and that's something.
Have you tried to work on it?
I have tried, and I feel like I've gotten a little bit better.
Over time, probably.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten a little bit better, because there's instances where I'm like, you know what, if I were to see that person, like, it's whatever. Like, I'm not mad about it anymore. Will I want to be your fucking friend again? Like, no, but it is what it is. What happened, happened, and like, okay. But there are some instances where bitches still fuck you and your fucking mom. Like,
I would live for the day where Kiki is grudge free, because I feel like I knew that Kiki before you went through what you went through, and I feel like that's the epitome of going through something that's really hurtful, like the situation with your ex, like how painful that was and how it really changed you to become so much more savage with men and so much more like aggressive with men. But I live for the day that you regain that control back, or that part of you to be soft and to be back to that place, because I feel like that's such a beautiful place and I remember you in that place. And so I live for you to come back to that safe place where somebody makes you feel safe. And I feel like that's probably, it'll come in due time and with experience, but I feel like that's probably the best version I have ever seen of Kiki, is to not be savage, because you really aren't savage. Your whole heart is the most beautiful thing in the world. Your whole heart, like I said, the first person yesterday when I was dealing with that whole post-it note at my doorstep, and I was like, and me being scared. Stay with you? She was even though my sister was in that group chat. My sister, even though she lives like down the street from me. My sister was in that group chat. Marissa was in that group chat with which I know Marissa would come.
I was the furthest. I was at my mom's.
She was the furthest. She's all the way like
45
an hour
away.
Yes. She was the first one to be like, I'm in there like swimwear. And we talked, we like vented, both of us, and then we both fell asleep and we were both all cozy, woke up peacefully. So she's the first person to have that very soft heart, but I feel like because of her experiences, it has hardened her heart a little bit, and I just live for the day that it will come back to where you are in your soft space again.
My soft era.
In your soft era. I feel like she's in her savage era, and that's okay, because I feel like you have to go through these things.
Yeah, you have to go through that.
Yes, you have to experience all of it.
Yeah, you do.
You do. You have to experience all of it. Where you're mad, sad, angry, happy, then back to normal, and whatever. But I live for the day where you come back to that space and you feel safe to be you, because you is a very beautiful you.
I feel like I'm approaching the end of I told Jackie, like, I'm done. Like, I'm done being she was like, you've been a savage for 2 fucking years. I'm like, I have been. My friends call me, like, they call me fuckboy. And not even, like...
Facts!
It's just because I could be so, like, I'm detached, you know? And, like, I feel like I'm over it. Not just, like, oh, I want somebody, but, like, I'm just over... Not the games, but I'm just, like, over. Like, I'm receptive to the idea now of maybe being vulnerable. And I was. Maybe that's why the last instance where I got ghosted, it did kind of, like... It stung a little bit, because I was like, bro, the one time I was remotely considering, just for a second, being, like, soft... You pulled some fuck shit, you know? And I was like, I'm back to my no fuck you ways. But when it comes to my friends and my family, like, I think I'm a ride or die ass bitch, and I will always be like, I'm soft. I'm soft when it comes to my friends and my family, but men, no, right now, you don't get that fucking side of me.
And again, I think it's based on experience and on age. Because as opposed to you, me and my recent instance of my dating situation with somebody that I really liked and ghosting him, even though that stung for me, even though that was hurtful for me, because I genuinely liked him. Like, I genuinely liked him. We all knew that. I genuinely liked him. I don't think that I have it in me to become savage or to do that. But again, it's my headspace and where I'm at in a different place. That for me, it's like, okay, well, it had to be this way, and now the next person, and I don't have any reason to be savage with the next person. I'm just very in a place to be peaceful,
like vulnerable,
and I'll be safe. And if I see that it's unsafe, I know how to exit,
like how to act on it,
and that's it. I don't have it in me to savagely disconnect from somebody, to be mean to somebody, because Kiki is a savage. She learned from the best, aka Marissa.
Marissa really sculpted me.
She really molded you to be.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, and so I do not have that in me. I am
She
in
tells
a
me
different
sometimes,
place.
like, I wish I could be as fucking savage.
Yeah, because she made you that. Honestly,
Yeah.
Marissa scared me for some time.
It was like my experiences. Also, like, I've just hated men since the ripe age of like 5. Okay, let's just set the record fucking straight.
Can we talk about that? Do you mind me being vulnerable?
I'll be vulnerable.
Okay, can you tell me why you've hated men since the age of 5? I think we're gonna need a drink, Sophia.
Sophia, refill.
So we're gonna take a sip to that. I didn't expect us to get this deep, but since we're here,
might as well.
Also, I didn't realize how much Tito's Kiki emptied, but Kiki emptied.
Look, I'm not a bottle girl for no fucking reason, okay? My purpose
Kiki,
is to get people fucking drunk.
You actually emptied the Tito's bottle in that cup.
Bitch, I have a hand.
But the real question is, why couldn't I taste it?
I did a good fucking job, obviously.
Clearly.
Look, my sole purpose is to get people drunk so they could get another bottle, tip me more. You know how it goes.
Okay, so my sole purpose in creating this podcast was to get real raw and real vulnerable with people about real life things. And so Kiki expressing and being able to be open to the idea of expressing where her hatred stemmed from for men, not necessarily a generalized hatred, or maybe a generalized hatred, but like where her ideals about men came from is kind of the things that I really wanted to talk about on this podcast. And so I really appreciate you for saying that and actually saying that you would be open to discussing that.
Yeah, of course.
And why you feel like your opinion about men stemmed from the ripe age of 5.
Bro, literally, I was 1999, okay? Like, that's the year I was fucking born. I just feel like for girls, I mean, given if you had, a father figure in your life, even if you didn't, I feel like that still is setting the tone. I feel like it's just your dad is like the first person to set the tone for you on like your perception of men, like, and how, you saw your parents' relationship was and their interactions. And like, for me, I never really knew my parents like happily together. My parents probably split when I was like, I don't know, maybe like 12, 13. But it was just like, my dad was my first example of like, ew. Like,
of a man?
Yeah. And like, he was, when he was present, he was a good dad, or he is a good dad. But like, as a husband, absolutely not. And I feel like having to see all that happen in front of me, and like, not even just my dad, but all the men around me in my family, like, it's very unfortunate to say, but there's like not a single man, at least in my family, that I could be like, I would want someone like that for me, like the girls that are like, oh my god, I want to find someone just like my dad. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? If I see even a glimpse like of my dad in a man that I'm like maybe talking to, love, like, it was so nice meeting you. Thank you for the dinner. Thank you for the drink. Like, I'm okay. So,
what do you feel was more impactful for you growing up? Do you feel like it was more impactful for you to the way that your dad treated you, or do you feel it was more impactful for you in your impression of men the way that your dad treated your mom? And observing that relationship.
I think, like, it's tricky because, like, aside from the husband that he was to my dad, like, he had other demons, that he was battling, like, growing up and, like, seeing it. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it was more so, like, seeing how he treated my mom, My mom, like, it's just, like, it's different when you see it with your own parents. And, like, for me, I get, like, so shocked when people my age are like, oh, yeah, my parents are still together. I'm like, no fucking way. Like, how? And I'm like, are they happy though? Like,
can I chime in here real quick?
Yeah.
I think that the most precious and most beautiful thing that a man could do for his kids is to love his wife correctly.
100%.
Yeah, that's why I asked if you feel like the way that your dad treated you was more impactful, or the way that you saw your dad treated your mom was more impactful?
Yeah.
Because it's the dynamic that we observe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what we would emulate
Of
or
course.
see as like the stepping stone or the standard for what we should want for ourselves. So I always say, and I truly believe that the way that a man loves his wife or their kid's mother
Mm-hmm.
is the way that kids will see what love really is.
100%.
Which is exactly why I made the decision to exit my marriage and in hopes of finding somebody who can love me in a way that my kids can observe what genuine love is.
Mm-hmm.
So then you agree
100%.
that more so not what your dad did for you, but the way that he loved your mom or what he did to your mom affected you more.
Of course. Like, I had my own, you know, and to this day I still have like a very rocky relationship with my dad. But those are things that, like, I can, you know, forgive, or it's like a work in progress type thing. But the things that I had to see between my parents and, you know, all the things that he did to my mom, it's just like, you can't help but it shaped how your perception, you know? And, like...
What did he do specifically that shaped your perception?
I mean, obviously, like, infidelity is a huge thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, countless acts of being unfaithful.
Was that hurtful to you because you felt like he did it to your mom, or hurtful to you because he did it to your entire family?
I think it's just hurtful because he did it to all of us, you know? Like, and that's what I think, like... people don't realize, like, maybe in the act, and, you know, not saying that women can't be unfaithful too, like, it goes both ways. Yeah, I think, like, your kids are observing and seeing every single thing that you do, and, like, it's just gonna harbor resentment, you know, like, in one way or another, it's gonna fester and fester, and it's just, like, that was the example that I had set for me, and, like, it just, yeah, I can't help but say, like, my perspective on relationships and marriages is tainted from that, like, and like I said, not only because of my dad, but all of the men around me in my family, like, I literally can't name, like, one faithful man in my family that I know. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like the only good examples of guys that I have are literally, like, John and Alex. Mm-hmm. And, like, not that I know them in relationships, but, like, they're just genuinely, like, good men.
So if you guys don't know John and Alex, or if you guys ever observe our group, or whenever I post us going out, John and Alex, John is my brother, and Alex is my cousin, and I'm gonna get emotional. Aww. But I just feel like they are good men.
They are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I feel like
I do feel like they are good men, and I feel like they set that tone or that standard that makes me think that there's somebody out there that will genuinely love me, or genuine, and, like, it's so beautiful that we have that group.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they set that tone and that standard for all of us, for all the girls in the group.
Yeah.
That they will not allow us to feel devalued. Mm-mm. That they will not allow us to accept anything that is beneath us.
Right.
And I feel like anytime I feel decepcionada by a man, mm-hmm. I think about them.
Restore your faith, like, just a little.
Yes, because I think about them, and I think about the people that they genuinely are. And the men that they genuinely are, they are protectors, they are lovers. Yeah. They want to make you feel safe. They want to make you feel protected. 100%. They want to make you feel taken care of. I'm so thankful that they're part of our group.
Right.
And, like, they can show us that.
Yeah. 100%.
Because I feel the same way every time.
I think after we had gone to Beyond, like, it was me and Natalie, and we were talking about my cousin Natalie after. We were like, dude, like, the guys just made us feel so safe. And, like, honorable mention, Chelsea's hubby, Kevin.
Oh, yeah, like, my brother-in-law, too. My brother-in-law, too.
Yeah, I will say, like, two of my brother-in-laws, too, like, I've told them, like, hey, no fucking pressure, but, like, you guys are some of the last men to, like, restore my faith a little, so don't fuck it up. Like, no pressure, though. No fucking pressure.
Though.
You know, but, yeah, I just feel like they're, the only really men I could think of, like, all the it's just, like, I've dated, okay? Like, I've had my experiences, and I'm like, man, like, I can't think of good men aside from them. Like, I just can't. I can't. And, like, no, obviously nobody's fucking perfect. Like, everyone's gonna have it perfected, but I'm just, like, when it comes down to, like, the principles and the values, like, I just, you know, they're the only last guys that I could really think, like, okay, they give me, like, a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, so seeing them, to me, makes me think, like, it exists.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there that will do.
Yeah, it may be fucking...
And above and beyond.
Yeah, it may be fucking hard to find.
It may be... we're fucking digging. Looking for the diamond in the rough.
Me going to the other countries, I'm like...
Okay, so do you feel like you harbor any resentment towards your dad for shaping your ideals of men?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, because I'm like, you were my first, like, concrete example, setting the tone. Yeah, of course, like, I have a tainted perspective now. 1000%.
Do you feel like if you were to decide to forgive him in whatever way or capacity that took, and forgive him for what he did to your family and to your mom, do you feel like that would liberate you to, like, be more open to real love? And do you feel like that would open you up to, like, something great? Because I feel like sometimes we're hindered by our own limitations and our own ideals by what shaped us. And I feel like when we hold on to these things until we release them, are we not able to be open to everything great?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think so. And, like, my mom even asked me the other day because it's like, I told her, I was like, it's...
I love her. Queen.
Shout out to Dirty D.
Shout out to her.
My mom is a fucking queen. But I told her the other day, like, it's so bad to the point where, like, if I see, you know, like, a happy couple, obviously, like, you can't believe everything you see. It's not realistic. But if I see, like, a happy couple, automatically I'm like, someone's fucking around on each other, you know? Like, and she was like, Kiana,
that's terrible.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
Like, I know, but, like, I just can't help but think, like, either someone's unhappy, someone's stepping out on the other. She was like, are you still in therapy? She's like, girl, you need some help. I was like, not anymore. I was, and I was in therapy for a while, especially after, like, such a long-term relationship. I felt like I really needed it. But I was like, I don't know, like, I just feel like my trust issues do run deep, but at the same time, I feel like I've also learned, like, I can only control me. Like, you're gonna do what you want to do, you know? Like, and I can't prevent it. I can't stop it. Like, I'm gonna let you do what it is you want to do, and I'll act accordingly. So, I feel like, I mean, my relationship with my dad is, like, such an uphill battle, but I feel like I don't think it's just him that's, like, stopped me from allowing myself to, like, be vulnerable, you know?
Progressively over time, I think that you've gotten a little better on your own.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
because, like, I have been, like, and especially, like, I have been a little softer as of lately.
You
like,
have been.
a little softer, and I told the girls, like, see, this is why I'm not fucking soft.
But I would prefer for you to be soft.
And I was like, this is why I'm not fucking soft, but at the end of the day, like, it's never my loss. Like, okay, maybe your feelings get hurt a little bit, but, like, it's not my loss. Like, I didn't do...
Can I repeat that again? It's never your loss to be soft. It is never your loss. It's somebody else's loss.
Yeah, it's never my fucking loss.
You don't have to be hard.
You don't have to be hard.
It's never your loss.
I'm talking to myself right now.
And I'm talking to you too. Kiki, it's never your loss to be soft. It doesn't matter what your dad did, how much he failed you, how much he failed your family, how much he failed your mom. It doesn't matter what your ex did. It doesn't matter what anybody did. It does not hurt you
it's not my
to
loss.
be soft. It is not your loss.
Yeah,
to
and
be
that's
soft.
why I say, like, I think I'm kind of nearing the end of, like, my fuck you, fuck this. Like, it's always gonna be fuck man, but, like,
and for funsies,
for funsies,
but
I
content.
I think I am nearing the end of, like, being so hard, you know. Like, I will always have a guard up with anybody, whether it's friendships, whether it's, you know, platonically, romantically, whatever. I'm always gonna be like, because I don't trust anybody that easy. Like, period, in general, you know? But I think I'm kind of like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be so...
Like, I think that you should get to a place where you're so secure in yourself, and I think that you're almost nearing there, where you're so secure in yourself that it doesn't scare you what people do.
Right.
That if they do it, then you're like, okay, you showed your colors, well,
I'm cool.
Okay then.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you don't have to be mad or bitter about it or anything. Just like, okay, you show your colors. Well, I'm going to protect me. So it was nice to know you, and on to the next.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, but there's no necessity to be...
So, like...
Oh. Yeah. Because Kiki and has been, but again, I feel like generational. I feel like also experiences, and I feel like also because there was still some leftover resentment or hurt from dad.
Yeah.
That it really shapes your responses.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to touch on this. Like, I always wanted to touch on this with you, but I feel like it's such a sensitive topic to talk about our parents and talk about, like, kind of what made us. Because even for me, like, my dad was, I mean, I love my dad to death. You guys know my dad passed away in 2021. Or if you guys didn't know, now you guys know my dad passed away in 2021. But although he was a dad, and he was always like, oh, all these things for us, and he always provided more and everything, he also wasn't the best example of a man.
Right.
He also is the reason too why I accepted less than what I deserved. Because although he showed me things that my value came from his financial gifts. Because he worked so much and he made 6 figures, so my value came from financial gifts. But not necessarily somebody who actually valued me. And he also always made me silence my feelings. Because I would tell him how I felt or my frustrations, and he would say, well, I love you no matter what.
Right. Like,
so instead of accepting and acknowledging my feelings, he would make me feel like my feelings were invalid.
Right.
By saying, I love you no matter what.
Yeah,
and it's like, but you're not accepting accountability for my feelings. So I feel like this is I feel like dads really set the standard and the tone for what we accept as women. Yeah. I feel like dads set the standard and the tone for what we accept as women.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to process that as an older person and see, like, damn, the parenting really matters.
Oh, yeah.
And especially a dad for a girl.
Yeah, just like, I feel like for a little boy, like, a mom can do the same. Yeah, like, you know, daddy issues run fucking deep. Mommy issues run fucking deep. Like,
I feel like I've never heard Kiki say anything about her mom that has affected her negatively, aside from, like, maybe your mom not being receptive or open to wanting to date.
Yeah, I want to pimp out my mom so
right.
If anybody's feel wants to take care of my mom, who, you know, could show her a good time, wine and dine her, please DM me.
Yes,
okay?
But I feel like in private conversation, the one person that I feel that has impacted Kiki's life so much and a lot of the way that she moves, regardless of whatever circumstance has happened to her, is her dad. And I never touch on the subject because I know it's sensitive.
Yeah, it's sensitive. Yeah.
So I never touch on the subject because I know it's sensitive. So I really appreciate you saying that. And saying that it's shaped because I could see it.
Yeah, I would be lying.
As a mom.
Yeah, I would be lying if I said it didn't. Like, you know, it's your first, in my opinion, like I said, it's your first, like, it sets the tone, sets the standard. Like, as a little girl, like, your dad, his presence or lack thereof is gonna, like, shape, you know, your perception. So.
And even the way that he just moves.
Yeah.
It genuinely shapes who you are. And it matters. So dads out there.
And that's why, like I joke with my mom all the time. She gets mad at me because I'm like, the day I'm ready to have kids, like, I'm getting a sperm donor. She's like, Kiana, shut up. I'm like, no, but I'm so serious. Like, the thought of having to select somebody that I think is capable and great for, like, raising my children and being those examples and setting those tones, like, that's so scary. Yes. I don't want to, you know, or their dad be responsible for how they feel about things. Like, yeah, because I'm like, I've been there. Like, I don't want that. Because I'm like, what if it's just me and them? Like, what if it's just mom does it all, you know? Like, I don't know. But she gets mad at me when I joke about, like, I'm going to get a sperm donor. One of my friends.
No, I feel it because it's scary. Even for me, like, I have felt it heavy on my heart to pray for my kid's dad. And not so much because of, I feel like it's just for my daughter.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, to me, he's nobody, but it's like my daughter is my everything. And so to me, it's like I would want my daughter to have the best example so that she expects
the best.
And that's all I care about.
Yeah, the best.
the best. The best. I don't ever want her to feel any feelings I felt.
Yeah.
I just want her to have the absolute best. So I feel like I understand the things that you have said, because although I didn't experience the things that you experienced, I feel like your dad really shapes what you accept and what you don't accept.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And it makes me emotional because again, my dad is absent, and like there's just a lot of things that like I feel like because I'm so much older and mature, I understand generationally why there was differences. But if I can do better and if I can teach my kids better, why not? And the same thing, because again, I see you and like I see how it affected you.
Yeah.
And I know that it did.
Yeah, of course.
And I know that it continues to until you really, really
like release that.
Yes, and until you have those conversations with your dad and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely a work in. I don't want to say
that's not even a work in progress.
It's not a work in progress. I don't want to say that, but yeah, it's kind of something I'm just like, I gotta take it for what it is. You know?
For right now.
For right now, yeah.
For right now. So with that said, and with all of this combo, I know I got a little bit sentimental. I'm a very emotional person.
I am too.
I saw those eyes.
Yeah, I am too. No, I'm emotional as fuck. Like I for sure am.
Yeah, I mean, I saw those eyes, and I'm really proud of you for being able to have this conversation. So I really thank you for being open and sitting here with me and
I love you. Thank you for having me.
Opening up. And I would like to always leave this podcast on a positive note and with good feelings and like words of encouragement. So if there's something that you could say to people about anything to leave on a positive note, what would your positive note be?
For me, I feel like I always tell myself like what's meant for me will find me, and whether it's like work related, career related, whether it's romantically, platonic, whatever it is, like what is meant for me will find me. I'm in the right place at the right time every time, and I will never force a situation. Like that's how I view everything.
So nothing is by mistake.
Nothing is by mistake ever, like ever.
Whether it's a lesson. Whether it's a temporary season.
Every time.
And I would have to agree with you, Kiki. Yeah. I would have to say that everything that happens in your life, don't take it so personally. Yeah. Just take it as for what it is, and then go on to the next.
On to the next. Everything is a lesson learned. And I mean, like, I may not have realized that until like now. I'll be 24 in July, and it may have taken me a little bit of time to realize that, but in hindsight,
you're still so young.
Yeah, and I am. Like, even though a lot of people think I'm fucking older than what I am.
She buddy.
Everyone thinks I'm like 27, 28. I'm only 23, and I just feel like I can appreciate seeing that now. Like, everything is going to happen the way it's supposed to. Like, I'm not going to force a hand. I'm not going to force a situation. Like, I am right where I'm supposed to be.
I agree. Yeah. I think that is the best note that we could leave on. You are right where you are supposed to be. And trust the process and be patient. Don't try to force things. Don't try to fast forward. Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the now.
Enjoy the now.
Sounds corny, but it's true.
It sounds gay as shit. But live in the present, bitch.
Sounds so good. Yeah,
take a sip to that.
Cheers.
Live in the present.
Yeah.
Enjoy the now. Because the now is the only thing that matters. Not what was behind you, not what is in front of you. Just literally this moment. I think we do a good job of that too.
100%.
I think our friend group, I have one of the best friend groups in the entire universe.
Do. Yeah, our friend group.
I think it's a friend group of genuine love and a genuine connection of just love. It's really deep, and it's really like rooted in being in the moment. And I think that being in the friend group is one of the biggest things that it has taught me. Yeah. To be in the actual moment and be present with everybody.
Yeah. All the memories, like
all the
memories we've made.
I can't even remember pulling out my phone or anything. Like, if anything, we set it down and it's just like in the moment. Yeah, so
Yeah.
being present.
Being present, for sure.
I love that for us. And I love that for you guys too. So if you guys aren't living in the moment, this is your sign. Cheers. And to the next podcast. Hey. Bye.